This is Andrei Sannikov and Belarus File. In this edition I would like to offer you my intervention at a very important discussion in European Parliament in Brussels, organized by Lithuanian MEP and former Prime Minister of Lithuania Andris Kubilius. Žiria Belarus, long live Belarus.
Very well known Belarusian political activist or leader or whatever we can call in all the different names, Andrei Sannikov from European Belarus. Mr. Sannikov, floor is yours. Switch on your micro. Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't hear you in the beginning, so I had to guess that you are giving me the floor. But first of all, I would like to thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Andres, for organizing this. It is really, Lithuania is leading the way in assessing the situation and taking measures as regards the situation in Belarus. And I would really like to follow your lead and follow the questions that you posed for us. And first question is, what should be the strategy after Lukashenko allegedly term in office expires? First of all, forget about any term in office, legitimate term in office of Lukashenko, because his term in office is expired finally in September 2001. It was expiring in 3 stages. First, after the referendum, when he usurped the power and changed the constitution or destroyed the constitution. Then in '99, when he had to have the election, presidential election, but he didn't. Then 2001. So to speak today that there is some kind of legitimacy for Lukashenko before some certain date is to say to people that you can kill more or less legally people in Belarus. So forget about the dates. We have to react now, and the European Union have to react now. And the strategy has to be as tough as possible, because it is quite surprising that today no tough measures are taken as regards the Belarusian situation. And that very unfortunate development with Cyprus that is holding back the sanctions, even not so strong sanctions against Lukashenko and his thugs, is really the weakness of the European Union. That's why I really would like to praise the Baltic states and first of all Lithuania for taking very decisive measures against the regime of Lukashenko. Second, the second question is how to react to possible documents signed in Moscow by Putin and Lukashenko. You have to react by sanctioning Putin, because we have now Russians on our territory. We already have invasion. I think by several assessments, we have about 1,000 people under different pretexts that are being sent to Belarus. And it is not only those strike breakers from the state TV. I mean, Russian propagandists that are working now for Belarusian state TV. It's also we are very much afraid that the people are now working as bandits in the streets, because there were several cases when their identities were revealed, when balaclava were torn away, and we saw that they were Russians. And there is another fact that the number of visits from the southern federal district of Russia, internet visits on the internet sites belonging to the southern federal district and to the separatist territories in Ukraine has grown dramatically from Belarus, I mean, which is a clear indication that there are thugs being sent from Russia and probably from the Donbas region to act against the peaceful demonstrations in Belarus. So there have to be a very strong signal to Putin, first of all, that any kind of paper with this insane dictator will be null and void, of course, but also that Putin will be also sanctions, and Kremlin will be sanctions if it continues its invasion and its interference in Belarusian affairs. And it is clear today that Lukashenko badly needs this interference and invites it, and that Putin is ready to do, not ready, he's already doing this. Then how to bring justice? Sanctions. I have only one answer. There are three most effective measures against the injustice and against what is going on in Belarus. Sanctions, sanctions, and sanctions. Because, you know, the people are being killed in Belarus, and you will not stop it by reprimanding them. And even personal or targeted sanctions are not enough. I can tell you the recent examples of our history. When economic sanctions were introduced by United States in 2008, all political prisoners were immediately released, immediately. It was, there were about 9 of them, and among them Alexander Kazulin, former presidential candidate in the election of 2006. So the sanctions are needed, and sanctions that would be irreversible for the perpetrators of crimes, because there are criminals that enjoy impunity. You know, I was always telling the European Union officials that it was a grave mistake to leave sanctions in 2016, because you provided impunity for what's going on today, and because people know that maybe yes, we will have to tolerate, we will have to be patient for 3-4 years, and then the sanctions will be lifted and we'll go to Europe as Yermoshina did. There have to be economic sanctions. There have to be sanctions against falsifiers. There have to be sanctions against OMON. And the number of the persons sanctions have to match the number of those who are arrested, because we have not about 100 political prisoners. We have thousands and thousands of political prisoners today in Belarus. We simply don't know all the names because the scale of repression is simply enormous. So, and I can give you also my own example, an example of other political prisoners who were released only after economic sanctions were introduced. Look, workers are now going on strikes. They are sabotaging. They are risking their lives. And it is not, they are not risking their wages. They are risking their lives. Because if Lukashenko maintains power, the Belarus will be sworn in blood. And they are risking their lives, and they're not paying much attention to their economic well-being, because they want to get rid of this system. They want to get rid of this dictatorship, and they want to live in a democratic country. They want to elect their own government. So only sanctions could help to stop the violence, and only sanctions could help those who are suffering today. As for the strategy, I would say that the strategy for the new Belarus will be useful and effective only after the old Belarus is gone completely. But you have a very good example of, people may forgot already, but there was a very good non-paper produced by European Union in 2008, I believe, which was called "What EU Could Bring to Belarus," which enumerated, you know, it was a very hot brochure pamphlet in Belarus. We printed it underground. Some of the embassies were helping us. It was published in both in Belarusian and Russian, except besides English and French. And it was like you know, very hot item. People were looking for it. People were reading it. People were really encouraged by this kind of strategies that European Union mapped already in 2008. Today, what is needed is the support of people, is the support of those who suffer from this regime, the support against the repression. And I think that the European Union could follow the example of Baltic states. Individual sanctions could be introduced, like Lithuania, like Latvia, like Estonia did. Because if Cyprus could hold, presumably because they have some dispute with Turkey, the sanctions against the killers, the murderers in Belarus, then it shows the weakness, and it really encourages Lukashenko to continue with violence. You can proceed with individual sanctions that are not less effective, because Lukashenko already started the war against you, especially Baltic states, I mean, especially Lithuania. And this war, if there is no stronger reaction, and if there is no solidarity of Europe and United States, he will be prevailing in this war, I'm sorry to say, because he knows your weak spots, and he doesn't have 28 members to coordinate his politics with. So I encourage you to be bold, to follow the lead of Lithuania, to recognize legitimate results of elections in Belarus, to recognize not to recognize illegitimate Lukashenko, because that is the line to follow. Non-recognition, very strong, strict, legal non-recognition of Lukashenko starting from the 9th of August, because he completely was deprived of legitimacy on the 9th of August. Thank you.
The floor, first of all, to Andrei Sannikov. You can make whatever comment, not especially trying to answer the questions which I read, but please, Andrei, the floor is yours.
First, I would like to draw attention to a very important point that was mentioned here by Valentin Stefanovich. He mentioned it before during the informal meeting of the Security Council of the United Nations, that what is going on in Belarus from the part of a regime of Lukashenko has all the features of crime against humanity. And also we had the statement of Grigory Yavlinsky today, that what Lukashenko is doing, he is doing it as a war criminal. So, and there was an idea tabled by the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe to start international investigation and to create investigation group on the crimes in Belarus. I think that it is time to think about international tribunal, because what Valentin Stefanovich mentioned, and he is really a professional in this, about the mechanism of United Nations, they are weak, frankly, and they really suppose they require the involvement of the government and agreement of the government. It doesn't work in the situation with dictatorship. Although even the preparation of international tribunal on the crimes committed in Belarus, and we see that today even Nobel Prize winner is not safe. And the European ambassadors have to spend night in the apartment of Svetlana Alexievich to save her. What to say about the ordinary people? They're really under enormous threat. Their lives are threatened. And so even the preparation of such mechanism, it could be innovative, because, you know, I don't understand your concerns. I don't understand your worries about Russia, about Putin, but I don't quite understand the connotation, because European Union, in my view, is the strongest democratic union, is the strongest democratic entity, is the wealthiest democratic entity in the world, is the most powerful democratic entity in the world. It is combined with NATO. It is the most effective instrument to prevent crimes against humanity, to prevent war crimes, and to act decisively in support of democracy. So I think what Rasa Yankevichene said, I always say this, but I put it in a different perspective. It's not the next wave of collapse of the Soviet Union. It's the next wave of liberation of Eastern Europe. And I really think that it is coming now very strongly, with a lot of potential for all our region and for all former Soviet republics to join the democratic family of nations, no matter what their particular way of development will be. As for your questions, you asked about Russ's questions about the propaganda. You know, the most effective propaganda in Belarus was not Lukashenko's TV, it was Russian TV. So it is now important what Russia is saying, what Russian TV is saying for the people of Belarus. Those propagandists that work for Belarusian TV, the Belarusians are very skeptical about them. But what they are doing with their propaganda in Moscow, what they are doing with their trolls, as they did it in Ukraine, that is very important. That is a warfare. That is a warfare that is recognized, but maybe Franek would say more about this. And I would like also to stress one very important point. The sanctions should be tied to the immediate release of political prisoners, especially the political leaders like Sergei Tikhanovsky, Nikolai Statkevich, Pavel Severinets, and Viktor Babaryka. Those are the people that created this momentum in Belarus, and they have to be released immediately. And all the measures, all the sanctions are morally justified in this case. So I really thank you for this meeting. I thank you for all your statements. We really feel a lot of concern, and we're grateful for this. But I also encourage you to act according to your strength, according to your might. Thank you.